And we have Professor Antonio Martinez-Arboleda. He's joined us already. You're very welcome. So Antonio Martinez-Arboleda has been actively involved in integrating AI into teaching and scholarly production since 2022. He has developed numerous guest lectures, workshops, and has published on this topic, including 2 co-edited books by Creative HE. He set in motion the group REC AI, meaning Researchers and Educators Community for Artificial Intelligence Impacts, focusing on the intersections between AI's political economy and university education. His work in AI aims to explore and address the educational and strategic implications of AI technologies. Antonio Martinez-Arboleda studied law at the University of Murcia while working for his family business in property and development, and qualified to practice law in Spain in 1995. His professional journey in academia started after he completed his MA in business law from the University of Leeds in 1998. Transitioning from a legal education to academia, Antonio embarked on his career at the University of Leeds in 1998 as a Spanish language tutor, having worked in England at a logistics company and at the Instituto Cavendish in Leeds as a librarian, cultural program assistant, and tutor. Antonio became a teaching fellow in Spanish in 2001, senior teaching fellow in 2006, and principal teaching fellow in 2011. This period was crucial for developing his expertise in Spanish language education and area studies, in particular as he introduced educational innovations in the area of authentic learning, digital learning, and learner autonomy. Antonio's career took a pivotal turn in 2009 when he was invited to the UK Open Educational Resources Repository Project, the UNBOX, for Arts, Humanities, and Languages. His subsequent participation in numerous national open education initiatives, combined with his dedication to teaching, helped him to make a difference in the field of critical, digital, and open pedagogies, with very tangible contributions in the area of student collaborative knowledge production through podcasting, poetry translation, and audiovisual feedback. Antonio's contributions to open education and critical pedagogy are shaping the direction of university education and resonate on an international scale. In recognition of his academic leadership, he became Professor of Open and Digital Education in 2023. He is also the academic lead for open educational practice of his university and senior lead for the Knowledge Equity Network, a cross-institutional global initiative that he has contributed to shape since its inception in 2022. Please, House, join me to welcome Professor Antonio Martinez-Arboleda for his presentation. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Professor Helen Olojede, for this introduction. And thank you very much, Felix, also for facilitating all this great work of your university. I think the course that you are offering is unique in the world because of its approach, its content, its ambition. And you deserve a lot of credit. And I think you are an example for all of us. So thank you so much for this course, and thank you for your leadership as well. Yeah. Well, I've been tasked with teaching today about practical use cases of ChatGPT, but I will expand a little bit beyond the realm of ChatGPT, as you will see. I'm going to share now my slides. Yeah. So this is the title of the lesson, and that's my name, University of Leeds Knowledge Equity Network. And we will be covering more or less these questions that you see on the screen. Yeah, I like to have a little bit of a holistic approach to the question of ChatGPT, just going beyond ChatGPT itself and looking at the relationship between ChatGPT and other tools. Yeah, and obviously looking at what large language models are and what type of language models there are, because that matters in terms of how we approach in practical terms, both as educators and institutionally, to artificial intelligence. And before we start, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Professor Helen has told me wonderful things about you. I've seen some of the lectures already delivered, but I'd like to know what stage of the journey, of your journey in artificial intelligence you all are. So if I could ask you, please, to log in your phone or in your computer to this website called vivox.app, yeah, and type the session ID that you have on the screen. You will be able to to answer few questions, regarding artificial intelligence that I need to know about you. This is similar, this Vivox application is similar to Menti. I don't know if you're familiar with Menti. At the University of Leeds, we are subscribed to Vivox. It's a very similar application. So can I ask you, please, vivox.app and then session ID 195 385 506. Okay. Let me see if I can see if people are there. So this is the poll. I'm asking what type of text generative artificial intelligence chats, general ones, have you tried? So I can see people here responding ChatGPT free version. Some of the people have tried other things. People seem to have tried also Claude from Anthropic. Not many people seem to have the paid version of ChatGPT. That's interesting. And I'm relieved to see that so far, nobody has replied none yet. Yeah, so that's good. So that means that you all have. Oh, none yet. Some people, none yet. Okay. So I'll give you a few seconds. Time adjustment. 30 seconds to complete this. Wow, 95% of you have tried ChatGPT, the free version. Yeah, that's impressive. This is excellent because originally this course, had in its title, in its rubric, ChatGPT, but I wanted to, I thought it would be good to cover, also similar type of tools, similar type of interfaces that connect us with large language models. So there is a 7.5, 10% of you who haven't tried any yet. That's fine. Perhaps today is a good opportunity to do so. Okay, so I'm going to close this poll. Okay. Fantastic. So we're going to move to the next one. It's the first time I try this, believe it or not. I'm going to ask you about your experience, yeah? So I'm glad to see that this Vivox business is working well. It was the first time for me. So you have now another question, yeah? That is an open-ended question. Please tell us a bit about your experience with, I should correct this, your experience with ChatGPT or similar tools. Tell us what you use it for and how good the experience was, yeah? So I'm going to give you, let's say, a minute, yeah, now that you're familiar with the tool, to tell us a little bit about what you have used ChatGPT or other chatbots tools for and how was your experience. Okay, I'll give you a minute. It is very enlightening and exciting experience. I use it for language translation. Very good. Awesome. It is a matter of garbage in and garbage out. Good sense of humor there. Lecture notes and research. For research, content generation. I use it to generate a structure for review article I wanted to get right. Wow, wow. Generate article content, but not quite interesting. Good experience. I used to get definitions of concepts.
Idowu Adebakin, please stop writing on the slide. Sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Experimentation is good, okay? But yeah, better to experiment carefully. Thank you. Good. There are a lot of people here who have had good experiences. I'm glad that you have been experimenting with it. I'm going to close the poll now. And I'm going to say that I started to use ChatGPT in November 2022. And for me, it was a transformative experience because I started to play with all the activities that I had for my students and what they expected to be doing. I started to ask the chat to complete these activities, and that led me through a journey of discovery that has been really, really, really fruitful. And now, let's see. I'm going to ask you, about this. As users, have you tried customized chatbots? Chatbots that are specific for a subject or that are particularly focusing on a type of task? Because ChatGPT is a generic chatbot that connects to a large language model, but it is not defined for a specific subject, a specific knowledge domain. It's very general. ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT about Spanish cooking, or you can ask ChatGPT about coding, or you can talk about religion. You can talk about many things with ChatGPT, but have you ever tried a customized chatbot, subject or task specific? Okay. Let me see. I'll give you a little bit of time. For instance, a chatbot specialized in algorithms, or chatbots specialized in geographical information systems. Let me see. Is the voting working? Oh, I need to go here and, oh, yeah. I'll share it here. Yeah, people are voting for it. Present full screen, open presenter. Yeah, people are voting a lot on this one as well. And I can see on my end of here, my end, that the majority of people haven't tried them. The majority of people are saying no, but I would like to learn about them. Yeah. Excellent. So we will now move briefly into ChatGPT. What does it do? You all should know it, but just as a refresher, you have a free version that is well suited for a wide range of general tasks, including brainstorming, assistance with essay writing, teaching planning, summaries, basic coding assistance, and then we have a paid version that, at least in the UK, cost $19 a month, which is a lot of money. And obviously, it has greater functionalities. In the paid version, you can create bigger prompts. In the paid version, you can expect larger responses. It can handle more information for the inputs and for the outputs. In the paid version, you can upload documents that can be examined by the chat and considered in the responses. Either you can submit a document or several documents for the formulation of the answer, or for them to be reviewed and criticized, taken into consideration in the way you tell the chat. There is also a live web search functionality in the paid version, and interestingly, premium users, paying $19 a month, can create their own specialized chatbots and share them with the world. We will show you one of these at the end, yeah? So these chatbots, specialized chatbots or ChatGPTs, sometimes they have been fine-tuned with a specific data set of a knowledge domain that is very specialized. That fine-tuning is a process that requires a certain degree of a specialism in IT. It's not open to everyone. Not everybody can do it. But sometimes the specialized chatbots are simply customized. And customization of chatbots, making them specific or more specific for a certain type of task, is relatively easy in ChatGPT if you have a paid version. But we will show other large language models and interfaces where you can do this for free. And I'm very keen on talking about these specialized chatbots or ChatGPTs because it is the future for large language model interactions, educational interactions in higher education, because ChatGPT and similar chatbots are very generic, and very often you have to give so many instructions and you have to upload so many documents and you have to wrangle a lot with the prompts in order to get quality. And specialized chatbots can deliver the very fine results that we need in universities for very specialized, highly specialized tasks. I think we need to consider carefully that it's not the same learning mathematics and learning astronomy or learning social sciences. Yeah, the technology allows for a specialization, and that is the way forward for the interaction with large language models, with interfaces with large language models, either adjusting, fine-tuning, or simply customizing, or ideally both. And there is sometimes we confuse large language models with the chat interface products that we have. Yeah, and this is an important difference as well. The large language model is the very sophisticated algorithm, is the very sophisticated system type of artificial intelligence that can understand and generate language, and it has been trained, yeah, so they can answer questions, hold conversations, etc. And it learns from text, huge amount of texts, yeah, that have been ingested into it. Whereas the chat interface is simply the tool, is what we see for the interaction. The chat interface is the ChatGPT, what you see on your screen, yeah? And that allows you to hold that conversation with the large language model. And this difference It's important. This differentiation is important because in the case of ChatGPT, you have a model, a large language model produced by ChatGPT, yeah, and you have an interface produced also by ChatGPT, by OpenAI. But there are many other possibilities of having large language models created by a community of open source or created by Meta, the owners of Facebook and Instagram, and delivered with an interface by somebody else, you, me, a university, etc. And then another important differentiation that we need to consider to understand the affordances of large language models for things like customization, yeah, creating your own chatbot, specialize in your very subject, specialize in the things that you want your student to learn and how you want your students to learn them, is the level of openness of those large language models. So we have, on the one end of the spectrum, we have fully proprietary large language models. They are closed. We don't know what the algorithms say. Yeah, it's private property of the company that has created and has invested into it. And you need to pay to use them, or if you use them for free, you have to agree to their terms and conditions, etc., etc. The example is ChatGPT. In this case, GPT-4, the large language model that supports the paid version of ChatGPT. And in terms of fine-tuning, for instance, I cannot fine-tune that large language model. Nobody can unless they are authorized specifically by the owners. At the other end, we have the fully open source large language models. These large language models can be downloaded by you, by me, by anybody in their own laptop or in their own cloud. If you understand how the coding works, you can actually develop a new version of it. You can adjust it, you can train it or retrain it, etc. They are open source. They have a license that allows anybody in the world to build on them, to share versions of it, to adapt it, to adjust it, etc. So this is a completely different type of large language model. And then there are some of them which are semi-proprietary, some are open, truly open, but with certain restrictions, etc. Yeah. And why is it important, yeah, to differentiate this? Because if you have an open with restrictions or a fully open source large language model, you can have a lot of flexibility and control in terms of privacy, for instance. Imagine that you have to grade student work and you have to send the work of the students to ChatGPT. You are sending the work of the students, yeah, which is their intellectual property and is there, at least it has been created by them. You're sending it to a private company that is going to take the data, even if it's anonymized, but it's going to take data produced by the students, yeah, and you're sending it to them. If you have a local large language model that is in the computers of the university or in the cloud of the university or group of universities, the implications legally and ethically are different because you're not sharing with a private company the data produced by others. That university is actually receiving that information through the interaction with the large language model, with the interface, whatever it is. And the concerns, ethical and legal, are completely different. Of course, you could argue, well, if we want to grade the students' work in ChatGPT, we can ask them for permission, to put it through ChatGPT, and they have to sign, they have to agree to the terms and conditions of ChatGPT, OpenAI, etc., etc. That's fine as well. But I believe that ethically and legally is far less complicated to have your own large language model as an institution or group of institutions, yeah, and make sure that it is your university, the institution, the legal entity that is handling that data. That is why it's important. Also in terms of customization, adjusting, fine-tuning. If the large language model is completely open, I can, with a group of colleagues from different universities, create a specialized large language model on the learning of the grammar of Spanish language, for instance, something very specific. I am sure all of you in your respective subject domains, in your respective academic departments, can think of very specialized tasks that the general ChatGPT perhaps cannot handle that well. So it matters, yeah? It matters whether the large language model is open or not. Of course, the large language model of ChatGPT, OpenAI, is great. It's an amazing large language model. And of course, creating customized, not adjusted or fine-tuned, yeah, but simply customized chatbots is very easy, and that's why that's their potential in terms of business model. Yeah, they have an appeal because they have a very strong large language model, and they have a very easy way for users like me who are not IT engineers to create their own specialized chatbots. Another question that I think is important, yeah, how we integrate large language models in content generation, because chatbots, whether they are general or specific, are not the only thing that large language models are for. I will be very brief here. Yeah, you can have a standalone chat interfaces, whether they are specialized or not, but you can have large language models connected to things like word processing or PowerPoint, etc. And in the implications are different. Yeah, it's not the same to go to a chatbot that you go specifically, yeah, looking for answers to your questions, etc., than having a large language model integrated within your Word documents. Yeah, you're typing in Word, and then Copilot, Microsoft, offers you ideas, suggestions, criticisms, reviews. It's a different process in terms of your interaction, etc. Yeah, I will leave the rest for another day. So I'm going to show you a practical example of a specialized ChatGPT chatbot that I have created with my $19 account. And then I'll show you something that is free later on, yeah? Let me see, where are we? Here they are. So I created, can you see the, let me see, can you see the chatbot? Not yet. Yes, okay. So this is a chatbot that I have created. I will show you how I created it. So it's in Spanish, but it doesn't matter. Well, the instructions are in English, the interface in Spanish. I put the name, name. It's called Intelligent Language Teacher Assistant 2. Description: empowers educators with critical pedagogy and open practices. Yeah, I want teachers of languages to be able to design lessons and learning activities using critical pedagogy and open educational practices. It's an area of knowledge that is not, in my view, sufficiently developed, yeah? And it's not so up to date as it should be. So I gave the instructions here. Look at all the instructions. This is simply customization. This is not training. This is not adjusting. This is customization. I gave all the instructions, yeah, to ChatGPT for my special chatbot, yeah. I give it questions that I need them to answer, etc. They need to ask the chatbot. And very important, there is conocimiento in Spanish, knowledge base. What I've done is I have uploaded in the chatbot a lot of documents with, they have Creative Commons licenses, or they are my own documents, yeah, to serve as knowledge base of the answers that the chat is going to provide to the tutors, yeah? And why do I do this? Because the large language model has been trained in a huge amount of information that has been ingested, millions and millions and millions of PDFs and web pages to train the model. But on top of that, I want my chatbot to be considering these documents where I have important information about different approaches to critical pedagogy, to methodology, information about a specific type of activities, etc. And I could put more documents. I have 10 here, I could put more, yeah? So, and this is the chatbot. And what I'm working now on is on a workflow that allows me to structure the conversation with the user in a way in which I think it's more fruitful, because ChatGPT has a tendency to give you straight answers immediately. Hi, Chat, I'm thinking of designing an activity for my students, Spanish language, producing videos. And it goes bang, and it gives you a lot of information. No, 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 no. I want the chat to go through a number of questions that are very detailed, very specific, that will help the chat to give a very precise answer. Because it's not the same teaching beginners than teaching people at university. It's not the same teaching Spanish using a podcast or producing a podcast, etc. Yeah, all of you in your subject specialism understand this complexity. Yeah, so I'm working on that, and then I wanted also to show you an example of a free company that offers this type of services. It's called Hugging Face. You can check huggingface.co. And the basic free one allows you to actually create chatbots like this, like the one that I have created with OpenAI ChatGPT. And I wanted to show you an example that I have found of a relatively good chatbot specialized. It's called Professor GPT. Yeah. And somebody called David has created this. And I think it's good. And I'm going to actually replicate my own ChatGPT chatbots. I'm going to replicate it in huggingface.co. Amongst other things, people will be able to access to it for free. In my ChatGPT chatbot, if you don't have a paid account, you have a limited number of interactions, for instance. So it's a different model. So summarizing a little bit here, going into this specialized chatbot was created for the specific purpose of helping teachers to produce learning activities according to a certain methodology, but it could be for students, it could be for anyone. And what I have learned by building this is that anyone of you, whether you want to support your colleagues or whether you want to support your students, can actually follow the same methodology. The question of access and cost is very important, because if you want your students to benefit from your specialized chatbot, it has to be built on a platform that is free for access for them, or a platform that your university subscribe to. The specialized chatbots have got all the power of the underpinning large language model. So you're not creating your own large language model. You can provide instructions and the knowledge base. And for me, one important thing about this approach to artificial intelligence, creating specialized chatbots, is that I can work with other colleagues in updating the knowledge base. I can publicize my knowledge base. I can say my chatbots is being fed with these contents, and this is the purpose of the chatbots. So you don't have this feeling of the black box. We don't know what's behind an algorithm that has some biases that we don't have control on. Of course, the large language models have biases no matter what, but with this approach, I can control it much better because I can focus on knowledge that I am interested in. And this is a Hugging Face chatbot. And obviously, there are other providers like Microsoft who have Copilot. And I wanted briefly to mention that Copilot is great, but it's good for those who have a complete suite of Microsoft
Antonio,
projects. Yeah.
can I ask you to round up in 5 minutes? Your time
Yes.
is up. Okay,
I
thank you.
know. I'm going to round up in less than 5 minutes. Okay. So I wanted to share with you something that we have been doing with a group of colleagues across the entire world. I will put the links in the chat, which are open collections on practical cases on the use of artificial intelligence. In some cases, in many cases, our colleagues participating in these open books that are free. You can read them. I'm going to share the link now in a minute in the collection in the chat. In many cases, colleagues across the world in a variety of disciplines have created specialized chatbots, have explained how the interaction with ChatGPT or other large language model interfaces was, etc. So we have two collections here. That's the second one, towards artificial intelligence literacy, with reflections about on this topic. And then I'm also going to share a story that I created to illustrate the challenges that institutions and educators face with artificial intelligence, particularly looking at the political economy of artificial intelligence, who owns and who controls the educational experience, the design of the educational experience of our students. Because that is very important, that we educators remain in control of how the technology is used. I'm also going to share a brief survey in case that you're interested in helping us to understand your vision of the future with artificial intelligence. And that's everything. That's my LinkedIn profile if you're interested, but I'll put all the links on the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Antonio. That's a very wonderful presentation, and it's very informative and insightful, I must say, in all honesty and sincerity. Indeed, you wrapped up in less than 5 minutes, as you said. So the highlight of Antonio's presentation for me is how he dwells on specialized chatbots that are designed for specific purposes. And I could see in the chat box somebody asking, can you give us an example of the one that pertains to geographical locations and the likes? So that is a great high point for me. Then he also talked about differences between large language models and chatbots and the different levels of openness of LLM. On this, I have several questions. So I'm not going to ask here, maybe later. Then, based on the different levels of openness, talked about the proprietary, semi-proprietary, open with restrictions, fully open. And the reason why this distinction is important, especially for educational purposes, because it carries in its nature various ethical and legal implications. Okay, so that for me is the summary, the highlights of the presentation. We're going to take the questions in clusters of 3. So I'll call Olubumi Fadipe first, followed by Jude, followed by Israel, and have Antonio answer that. Then we'll take other ones in clusters of 3. Please, as much as possible, try to make your question at the max 1 minute so that we could give room for others to ask questions and we can also leave in record time. Thank you very much. So Olubumi Fadipe, you have the floor, please.
Okay, thank you, Professor Antonio, for that insightful presentation. My question is, how do you take care of plagiarism, even in the specialized chatbots?
I'll call Jude, please. Your question.
Can the chatbox, can it be integrated for all courses? Can it be made use of for all courses? to teach, to lecture all courses.
Then I'll take Taiwo. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Antonio. My first question is that what example do you have of chatbots that work on GIS, Geographic Information System? You didn't mention it while you were presenting, and I'm keen to understanding that. Secondly,
Yeah.
is GPT 3.5 an open source or proprietary? I'm curious also, GPT 3.5. Then lastly, can I create a chatbot with a paid version and then continue to use it with an unpaid version? Those are my three questions. I'll drop them on the chat box if you miss any of them. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great one. So Antonio, please.
Okay. The question of plagiarism. I have very radical views on this. I think, to me, in university, the tasks that students have to undertake need to evolve so that they can be presented with work that resembles life outside the university, life in professional scenarios. If I am an engineer working for an engineering company, my boss is going to say to me, I want you, Antonio, to design the best building here, and you need to do it in the most cost-effective way, and you need to make sure that it's high quality. Go and do it. My boss is not going to say, do not use artificial intelligence, Antonio. Yeah. My boss will tell me, use artificial intelligence ethically and effectively. And I think students should learn how to integrate artificial intelligence in what they do. That means different type of tasks. That means a different approach to plagiarism. That means that what the student is presenting to you is something that has been co-created with artificial intelligence, and that reveals the ability of the student to actually handle artificial intelligence as best as possible to harness that intellectual energy. There are many examples in which you can see that artificial intelligence, and I do it every day, I use it every day, in which artificial intelligence gets it wrong. Yeah. And I think making sure that students have ways to surface and show, their interaction with artificial intelligence is also important, because that means that you can see what the students has done in the prompting and how the students have managed to look for alternative angles to what the artificial intelligence is telling them, integrating different sources, approaching complexity in a rational, meaningful matter. So, yeah, I think we need to evolve. We need to evolve into a different approach to assessment and integration of artificial intelligence. In that new scenario, plagiarism will be something of the past.
Great.
The other question is,
question?
can chatbots be integrated in all courses? You as an author of chatbots, if you go to Hugging Face, which is free, and create a chatbot, you can do it on anything that you want. You can do it on astronomy. You can do it in maritime navigation, on anything. Of course, obviously, if you have a paid version of ChatGPT, the quality of the specialized chatbot will be perhaps better than the one in Hugging Face, which is free. And if you have a university with IT people, or a group of universities with IT colleagues who understand how to fine-tune, not just customize, but fine-tune the next step, large language models, you could create very specialized things for absolutely every field of knowledge. And then the other question, ChatGPT 3 open. I know that 4 is not open. I think ChatGPT 3, not 3.5, but 3 is semi-proprietary, yeah? So it's partially open with certain conditions, but you need to check that with ChatGPT, and then use something with the paid version and move on into the free one. I think that would work for the users, perhaps, because your ChatGPT, when you publish a ChatGPT chatbot, you have three options. You can, A, keep it just for yourself. B, share it with people. C, put it somewhere called the shop. Yeah. And if you put it in the shop, it's made available to all ChatGPT account holders, yeah, users. And if you withdraw your subscription, I should imagine that ChatGPT keeps that there, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay.
Thank you.
On the GIS, the geographical information systems, I gave that information because I put that example because actually I'll share again so that you can see it. The person who built this professor, yeah, this Professor GPT, who I don't know, is called David McMay, it's a public information. He has created this, an assistant that knows everything about GIS, yeah, and it has this is an AI who acts as a colleague, professional, personal tutor. Let me see. Sorry. Let me see. I'm going to share it now. So this user called David McKay, yeah, he's got this one, an assistant that knows everything about GIS, Geographical Information Systems, I imagine, yeah? So yes, but I think this is very important. Your question is very important because I know chats specialize in things that I know a lot about, but I don't know anything about geographic information systems. Okay, more questions?
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. That's very interesting responses. Yes. Okay, so do we have more hands up? Okay, like the question has been taken care of. Somebody's hand was up prior to the answering of the question. Okay, we have Tokumbo Ayola. Do we have any more? Okay, if no one, he or she will be the last. So we go on with Tokumbo. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. I'm just wondering if at the level of access, where you have to pay for some of these things, particularly for those of us in developing countries, and you know these things in terms of cost will be very expensive. Are we not having a situation where the benefits of ChatGPT and all other LMS is limited for use for those of us in developing countries? So I'm talking in terms of access and affordability of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I answer?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Affordability, access is crucial. And that's why I'm an advocate of open source large language models. Open source large language models are free to download. Open source, totally open source large language models may be slightly behind, but not so far behind in terms of the power and the quality in relation to commercial ones. But the open source community is actually doing a great job. The problem with open source large language models is that they require extra work when it comes to creating an interface for it. When administering them, you need IT expertise. One of the things I have proposed, I gave a talk in Latin America the other day in with a group of educators and academic leaders, in which I proposed the following: that universities should come together, groups of universities should come together, pool resources. Let's say that, imagine that 30 universities in Africa pool their energies together in having a team of developers, a team of IT experts. Yeah, it could be 5 people, it could be 10. We're talking about many institutions collaborating on this. And this team of IT specialist developers would actually work in conjunction with the academics in different subjects yeah, in developing tools that are free, that are accessible, that are effective, that are driven by educational need and design in conjunction with education experts and with subject experts for their students and for the world. This is something relatively easy to do, yeah, if there is a little bit of will to collaborate and a little bit of will in sharing some resources for the development of these specialized tools. And there is a lot of mileage in this idea, because one thing that we have at universities, that companies producing interfaces and products on artificial intelligence, is that we know what our students need better than anybody else, and we are experts, each one of us, in our subject fields, in our fields of knowledge, yeah, and we are the ones who should be driving, yeah, the integration in our subjects, in our degrees, of artificial intelligence, and that has to be economically feasible, and that has to be equitable, and it's one of the ideas that I'm working with through the Knowledge Equity Network. I'll put the the address in the chatbot later, and with the community that Professor Helen mentioned before, the research and education community on artificial intelligence impacts. Yeah, we need to make sure that there is knowledge equity, that everybody can benefit from artificial intelligence, but also ensure that there is educational autonomy, that we are the ones who produce these things in collaboration with developers. I don't want other people who are not experts in my field to develop things for me and my students and sell them to me. I would be losing educational autonomy because I would not have participated in the design of those tools. Yeah. So think about it, a consortium of universities that have a group of IT experts who can develop on the top of open source large language models applications for their students. That economically would be very, very feasible, and I think educationally would be great.
Thank you very much. That's a very wonderful response. We have a hand up. We'll just take it and we'll take a few, we take some comments and close the session. Just as we know, the discussion forum opens immediately after this session. And I think I have the word of Antonio that is going to join us on the discussion forum this week. Please disprove it, refute it
Yes.
if I'm not correct. Okay, so we would have more time to engage with them. So I'm just going to take Mary Adeyemi. Please make your question brief.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Antonio, for your insightful and wonderful presentation. Please, do you have any recommendation or advice for someone who would like to start a podcast channel but is not familiar with how to set it up?
Sorry, I didn't
That's my
hear
question.
part of the question. Could you rephrase it or repeat it? Sorry.
Okay.
A podcast, yeah?
Okay. I said, yeah, a podcast, maybe channel, but someone would like to start it. I heard you talking about podcasts, that you
Oh,
were
yeah.
very, used with podcasting. So I want you to give an advice or a recommendation on someone who would like to one, but is not familiar with how to set up one, sir.
Yes, I specialize in podcasting, but the podcasting that I do is podcasting for my students to produce the podcast in order to engage with service learning, producing open knowledge for the community as part of the learning. I'm not a podcaster myself, although I know how to do it, and I've been in podcast and I can talk for England, as you can see. But there is no magic wand for podcasting. I would say that if you're interested in doing a podcast, first of all, think how many episodes you want to have. Second, think who your audience is. Think what podcasts are already out there that are covering your contents or your angles, and go for it. Yeah. But don't think of a podcast as a one-off. Think of a podcast of a series of 10 or a series of 20. Because we have the tendency to say everything in episode number 1. Yeah. And then we run out of ideas, a strategic approach to it. And think about podcasting as a way to be creative, to engage with people, to empower yourself as a creator of content, and giving voice to others.
Thank you very much. Just to add to what he said, if you write us an email, I might be able to connect you with a seasoned podcaster. Maybe she will be glad to mentor you. I know one. Okay, so we have come to the
Can I
end.
please say that? Can I please say that I have left in the chat a survey that I'm very interested in people from all over the world to completing. If there are questions that you don't have an answer for, there is an option always saying, I don't know enough about this, or I prefer not to answer. But if you could please fill in that questionnaire, I'm very interested in knowing what you think about the questions there. Yeah. It's a bit long. It takes about 20 minutes, but hopefully you'll be able to learn as well by doing it.
Okay. All my questions, I'm going to keep it for some other time. Our time is fast spent. We have just 2 minutes to the end of this session, and I think you would agree with me that it's been very innovative. It's been very enlightening and informative. And if you don't mind, dear participants, with your electronic hand, can we give Antonio a resounding applause? Thank you very much.